All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. This may be a shorter coffee chat, so hopefully people roll in here pretty quick. It's going to be a chest and tricep day. We're going to do a little bit of heavy benching, some incline, and some triceps. Right, pretty straightforward. Um, Again, do some top sets of 315. If everything's feeling good today, I think I'm going to try to do 3 sets with a 315 instead of just one heavy all-out set and then back down work. Because I feel like again I can get more of my reps off of the incline stuff. So again, my supplemental work I can get more of the volume in. I just feel like sometimes I feel like I do a little better sometimes if I go ahead and do 3 heavy sets of bench. I feel like I just get better bench training sometimes when I do that. But I do like the top set and then back down work. It's just that again I've noticed I can get away with more heavy sets of bench these days because of the way that I train, since I do kind of the split. And I know my chest is not going to get hit again for a week. It feels like I can handle more of it because, again, I'm not rebeating my shoulders and stuff up with it. And I've actually been really happy with this style of training that I've been doing for quite some time now with this on the frequency because, again, my joints feel good. Although I had crazy DOMs in my quads this whole weekend from the high bar squats. I wasn't expecting that because I've been low bar squatting, and I said, well, let's try a high bar squat, hit a 465 pretty easy, and then did that 5 rep back off set to 415, just doing regular high bars. And my God, when my quads lit up. Now, granted, I did machine work for quads after, but I don't feel like that's what caused the DOMs. It's having 400 plus pounds on there, hitting those deep knee angles. But that was interesting. I don't know if this week I'll high bar squat again, or if I'll go ahead and do the low bar again like I did and knock down another 500 plus. I like rotating squats around a lot. People have noticed that. Even when I've hit my biggest squats, I usually just get good at multiple types of squats all at one time. It's what I enjoy doing. I feel like it's just less wear and tear also. But I digress. We'll just see what I do when I get closer to Friday. A lot of times, and this is what people will get upset about with my squatting. A lot of times I don't plan that till I start warming up. It's kind of see how my knees feel and everything, how my joints feel, how they, under the load, how my tendons feel. And then I decide, do I want to do a high bar? Do I want to do a low bar? Do I want to use one of these specialty bars? Do my shoulders feel decent today for loading up something on my back and getting my arms way back? I really play that by feel. And you know what? It's fine. I have a big squat. Because at the end of the day, I think people forget that as long as you're squatting heavy and then you do hypertrophy work for your legs, you're going to have a big squat. You're going to have a big squat. It's unavoidable. Again, as long as you're recovering from all of it. But that's been interesting to me. Of one reason I'm kind of looking at the way I'm training some of my upper body. When I look at how my legs respond to training, I do step back and go, I probably do just too much dang work for my upper body and not enough just high quality, heavy stuff, but then really high quality accessory work. I think I've gone through too much of that phase where I did a lot of pump work, trying to take some of the evidence-based guys seriously. And quite frankly, you just can't. You just can't. Their studies are horrific. None of them are big. None of them have results. And the science itself tends to oftentimes be bad. And what people need to remember, it's not all the science, it's one circle. And one circle has gained popularity, and they're in conflict with a lot of the other researchers. But because they've become kind of little pop superstars in, the online public arena, that's made their methods kind of go into vogue. Rise and shine, coach. What's up to you? I got another project I've got to do this morning after this chat before I train. So my training footage may not be up as quick as I might like. And this coffee chat's going to be pretty quick, guys. I don't know that I'm going to sit in here a real long time. I got an important project to work on. So, but rise and shine to you too. Or as we say, rise and grind. Rise and grind, brother. And yeah, hopefully we get some more clients this week. Last week was phenomenal for clients. If I could replicate that same intake this week that I got last week of client types, I would be ecstatic. I have some inquiries already. Definitely got some inquiries. But we also now have more client blogs. We got 4 client blogs rolling now. A couple of my old bloggers are actually still on. Actually, I have 3 clients who are current clients who I've vlogged before. I've got some interesting people I might think about, seeing if they want to vlog or not. See if they actually want to be worth thinking about. All right. Hey, Jason, cheers from Argentina. Hey, man. Morning to you. Good morning to you. I've never been to Argentina. I don't know anybody from Argentina. I know people from Venezuela. I know people from Brazil personally, like people here. I don't know anyone from Argentina. Tried raises that are like a hybrid between front and side raises, like 45 degree in front of you, the side raises. But I mean, how about we just hit all the different angles? I mean, that can work, right? And really, that's just a lateral raise still at the end of the day, you break it down. Sort of. Right, sort of. I like doing the plate stuff for my front, though. My front raises. There's just something about the plates. I just find them enjoyable. I find it more comfortable. Right? But, I am really not awake. I am really struggling to wake up. It's interior level. But Jefferson, all laterals are that. Like, you do realize a front raise hits both, and even a normal lateral hits both also. So it's not really any different other than maybe more balance between it. I don't know. That's really just a front raise too, because a lateral raise hits the front delt just as hard as the side delt, really. A normal lateral. People forget that. Or close to. It's probably just a hair more biased towards the side delt. Unless you go overhead, like a lot of people do way up, then it turns into front delt. Pretty much a front delt exercise. Yeah, but I mean in terms of anatomic plane of movement, not just musculature. Okay. That's a great cup. I know I've had this cup for a decade at least. Had it a while. I think I stole it from my ex. Like she just left it. It was in the collection. Who lived with me. So it's not really stealing if she just left it. I started using it. It's a good cup though. I like it. All right. Yep. Okay. You can use more weight, I think. All right. If you think it's superior. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad exercise. I'm just content doing side and then, well, Jefferson, they're there entirely just to build the side delts, really. I mean, we could make the case that we don't have to ever do that. I mean, we could just do front raises and rear delts if we really wanted. Like, to be honest, I don't know that my side delts have gotten any bigger from all the side delt work versus when I just did front raises and some rear delts. Hey, Reardon, what a silly question. We don't show them on camera, though. YouTube doesn't like that. I will obviously always be a gun person. I don't see that ever changing. All right. I don't see that changing. And Jefferson, who cares if something's dainty? Either we're working a muscle. I mean, like a rear delt exercise is about as dainty as can be. But do you want to not have rear delts? That's the question. I think that's the important question. especially crucial strength in the shoulder muscles because of the anatomy. Well, sure. All right. It's always interesting, even though we talk a lot about training all the side delts and everything directly, there have been many supposed experts who say there's no need to even do that. I don't necessarily think they're right, but a lot of people have said that. Rowing 400 plus on the floor ain't dainty, that'll pack the meat on the rear delts. Does it really though, Jefferson? I built pretty big lats, and even when I did a lot of really heavy rowing, my rear delts kind of lagged. I felt like my rear delts really lagged a few years ago. Right. And I was even doing stricter pendlay rows. I was doing stuff like 250 for sets of 12 on pendlay rows, like on camera regularly, like it's a regular thing, 250 cranking out like 3-4 sets of 12. And I still feel like my rear delts were small. All right. So, something to consider. Something to consider. But there's a point where I sometimes go, I don't know if I really need the shoulder day like I have it in there. I choose to do it though, and to do all that extra isolation just because of the potential for aesthetics, and I feel like I need more delts. I honestly feel like though these days most bodybuilding delts that we're seeing is just a result of pinning them, not necessarily their training. You have to pull the upper chest with the heavy row from the floor. Doing it in the abdomen won't do it. Well, yeah, no, I was hitting my chest. I was hitting my rib cage, like my ribs. Still felt like my rear delts were lagging. Like I'm just saying, rows didn't do that much for my rear delts. My reaction to Cali muscles. I had many reactions to many Cali muscle videos years ago, Bruno. A very wide to almost snatch grip. I've also done that. Jefferson, I'm just pointing out, not everybody gets all the small muscles from a big movement. And that's what you have to think about. We know this based upon people. You can have 5 different lifters do the same compound movement, and the ratios will be different in what grows on them. Like, this already if you coached people. You're going to get people whose rear delts are just not going to grow from rows, no matter how you do it. And keeping in mind, I've made videos discussing upper versus middle back on grip widths, bar paths. I mean, I've discussed this a lot. I've done whole videos on this years ago. So you're not telling me anything new, Jefferson. You do know this, right? You are aware I have made whole videos explaining purely how grip width on rowing affects the musculature and the ratios, how the touch point affects it. Like I've done full breakdowns of this stuff like 5 years ago. We're not into new territory at this point. No, I don't know at all, but I'm just saying that you're basically preaching to the choir. You are telling me stuff that I've literally made 20-minute videos in the past. And what I'm telling you is my rear delts just don't grow that well from rows. And it's just simply reality, right? My rear delts just don't grow that well from rows. When I was doing tons and tons and tons and tons of rows, my rear delts were still lagging. Yeah, no, it could be preaching to the choir. But I get that. I get that, Jefferson. But again, you also have to remember, this is the reason we need isolation work. You are ultimately going to have, unless you're just absurdly genetically gifted or on enough gear, right? You're going to have weak links in the musculature from your compound movements. You are going to have a muscle that should be growing that lags somewhere due to your personal genetics and structure. And it's always going to happen. For me, rows always leave my rear delts lacking a little bit. Even when I've been really strong at rows, when I've done crazy high volumes of rows, when I was doing 20 plus sets a Pendlay rows every week, right? With pretty heavy weights. My rear delts just didn't seem to grow from it. My mid traps, my lats, all that stuff, man, did really good. You know, yeah. My forearms. So, you know, I'm probably going to have to always isolate rear delts. Any idea how long lumpy scar tissue from site? I don't think it ever goes away. Hey, Jefferson, it's for life. Now, I can tell you in my personal experience, it doesn't go away in 20 years. That's definitely not long enough. Sorry. I mean, once it kind of turns into some scar tissue, it's pretty much there. I've never found a way to break any of that up. It just is what it is. Jason, what difference do you see between training at home and a gym? That's too complex of a question. There's enormous differences of a dozen different directions we could take that question. No, it doesn't stop any of that because you still have all the fatty tissue around, you know. Right. But yeah, the scar tissue may not fully ever break up. May not ever break up, but it's not going to stop absorption. But that's why where bodybuilders get their delts for the most part. Like honestly, let's just be realistic. Bodybuilder delts are mostly scar tissue in that side delt. That's why they have the big shoulders. It's from pinning. You'll find real fast, Reardon, that in terms of bars and weight, you probably get better equipment than most commercial gyms. Yeah. The problem is machines and cables are where you run into problems. Now, yeah, and like you said, you get what you pay for. Like my home gym is better than most commercial gyms. The only thing though that's hard is getting something like a really good leg press in, or having fixed flat base dumbbells is really nice. Like that is a big perk of a commercial gym. Like adjustable dumbbells are just not comparable. They're such a pain. You know, especially if you want to go heavy. Like, dude, I wish I had a whole rack with flat dumbbells for like my incline and chest presses and stuff would be really nice. Mainly because when you drop them back down, dude, those handles, it hits your thighs sometimes if you got to really time how you drop them back on your thighs. I got a Titan cable stack on Craigslist for 100. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you found a good deal, dude. You got to look for those deals, though. You're right. Edgersano says, I sometimes go lighter on deadlift. Okay, well, sometimes we all go a little lighter on deadlift. Is you dealing with a recovery reason, though? But what you don't want to do is to do what I had a client he dropped out. Had him for 3 months. I couldn't get him to do the prescribed weights on deadlifts because he's like, well, my back gets a little fatigued. So instead, he would take 100 pounds off and do a 16 rep set and then pull something in his back. And I'm like, why did you do that? Well, because I felt like my back has been getting fatigued. So I took 110 pounds off what you prescribed and took it to failure. And I'm like, why? This is why men are uncoachable. I wish I had 30 women as clients and no men sometimes. Oh, all right. Jason, Titan sells a really nice extra long multiple dumbbell. Yeah, I have them. I have all three sets of the Titan handles. I have the really long. I have two of that one actually. I just never use it. It's super cool, but I have two of that dumbbell literally that you're describing. I own a pair. I got a pair of those. And they shouldn't even deny sending you those gifts, which tells me he really did send them. Yeah, pretty much, Marco. I'm sure he did. But no, I mean, I can load them heavy enough. The issue is dropping them back down. It's the hitting your leg. Like I can get plenty of weight. I mean, I can take those medium length ones up to like 135 easy. And I don't see any time in the near future me needing dumbbells heavier than 135 per side for a while. For nothing that I do, at least. Um, you know, not for anything that I do. It's the round ends. Yeah, the collars sometimes scratch you, they hit you, but it's the actual little, because you have that 2-inch Olympic handle. If those ends hit you, it's going to rip you. Like you're gonna break your skin if those hit your thighs. Like they're gonna hurt like hell. So it's missing your thighs, and you rock them back down. You just got to make sure the plates are what hits you. But if you have those flat ones, you just drop the whole flat onto your leg, and you're good. So that's a big perk, and they're preloaded. Like loading up individual dumbbells, 70, 80, 90 pounds, you got to put each plate on every single one, and then take the plates back off each one. Move the dumbbell around. So yeah, so it's definitely more convenient in a commercial gym that has fully already loaded smooth bottom dumbbells. Um, Thoughts on two competition collars? I'm pretty disappointed. They still walk. Yep, all collars walk on deadlifts, especially if the bar bends at all. Never mind, I sometimes take vitamin B2. Why? Why are you taking vitamin B2? That's a complete waste of time. Why don't you just eat you shouldn't need that. Why don't you just eat a good diet instead of taking a random B vitamin? Like B vitamins are something I would never see any person with a decent diet ever needing to supplement for any reason. Any sort of B vitamin. Like you have to have a horrifically bad diet. Like, do you live on Starbucks? Like I'm not understanding this. I mean, I get it. If you live on nothing but McDonald's French fries and a protein shake, then I could see that. But if you're eating real foods, actual food, whole foods, there shouldn't be deficient in any B vitamins ever. Like that's just really strange. Like that shouldn't even be a market that exists. Benefits of megadosing. There may be arguments for vitamin K for things like atherosclerosis, but it's turned out the data hasn't really supported it. We know megadosing certain vitamins will cause cancer. Like vitamin C supplementation in high doses is linked to cancer. So is vitamin E when they're in pure form. People forget this stuff when they start taking all these random goofball vitamins. Why do you need a B12 supplement? Burden, are you a vegan? If you're a vegan, I get it. I probably get 10 to 15 times the RDA on B12 every day. Yeah, you should be worried about taking a multi. There are registered dietitians who I know personally who are like, technically a multi is actually potentially risky. Yeah, it may actually hurt you for not in some cases because you can overdose on certain metals and then get absorption issues with others. Yeah, you shouldn't just randomly take vitamins. That's really stupid. And I know we were told as kids, because the original vitamin industry before the supplement industry convinced the American population that we had a soil depletion issue and therefore we couldn't get enough vitamins and minerals from our food, from our broccoli and stuff, so that we needed to take vitamins, right? This was a propaganda by the vitamin industry. And our grandparents grew up hearing it, so therefore they passed it on to us. And so, take these vitamins. I had said it one time maybe, but I'm not convinced of it. I'll occasionally take a multi if I forgot to eat significant vegetables that day. I'll take one, so I keep some on hand. It's one of those where my view is always going to be mixed on it. You're going to see me probably flip flop on that one for the rest of my life, just because every expert I know flip flops on it too. Literally every person I know who has a serious nutrition background, either a PhD or a registered dietitian, they're always kind of like that on the multis. I see, but they always flip flop too. So that should tell you something. Do you believe in pre-workout carbs? I train fasted. I've been training completely fasted for a year and a half. I eat 0 calories before I lift. I think your body, Jefferson, what's your foundation for this belief? Keep in mind, vitamins is an enormously broad category of chemicals. Like vitamins are not hey, this is what a vitamin is defined as. It's an entire enormous spectrum of substances that are completely unrelated in their structure. It's right. So keep that in mind. People tend to, for some reason, they hear the word vitamin and they think vitamin is just all the same sort of thing. Vitamins is a broad category, okay, for any organic substance that your body needs you to take in that has no calories and isn't a mineral. So vitamin is a catch-all term, okay, because you have things that have calories that are energy, they're macronutrients, and you have minerals. Anything else that your body requires is called a vitamin. Does that make sense? Some of them are hormones. Some of them are amino acid based. Some of them are lipids. Does that make sense? They're completely different categories chemically. I overfeed for the event, like because it's an event. I'm so used to it that honestly, if I train fasted, I get lethargic if I try to eat. But I could probably use the leverages day of, and I'm not going to be fast until 3 o'clock and training and lifting. So I'm going to eat. So I mean, I'll take the leverages. So I mean, no matter what, I'll probably refeed hard. So I did it my last meet, and I'll probably snack through the event. The main thing though for meat day is keeping the food volume in my stomach low because I'm used to having nothing in my stomach. So it's going to tend to be very calorie dense stuff is what I would stick to. You know, the main thing is making sure I don't have a bunch of food in my belly, like it has volume. But no, Jefferson, you're not going to urinate all vitamins in excess. And just because you're urinating about excess doesn't mean there's not some potential for different overdoses and problems. The ones you're seeing are very specific vitamins that are making your urine bright. Those are almost always B vitamins, which are going to be a water-based compound. So that's why you're urinating them out. But that's one category. Or longer shorts. No. And you're gone. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. I got stuff to get done. Watch an older video. No, I couldn't. And then I forced myself to do it, Jefferson. And what I found is that my workouts ended up being better. I've made a lot of videos on that since then, Jefferson. Have you missed all those streams? You don't follow my Facebook, do you? So I discussed this a lot. I've probably discussed that very topic at least 50 or 60 times on camera, like what you just addressed. What I found is once I started doing it, I adapted really, really fast. I used to not be able to do it. And then I started forcing myself to do it. And then I adapted. And then I started finding that it was actually easier to train fasted. Yeah, no, we change. Well, it's not just that our views change with our experience. Like as far as being able to train fasted, dude, it took me a week and a half. But when I first tried it, because one of my friends who was always jacked and lean suggested it to me, who's actually a really good coach in his 40s, he brought it up to me and I tried it a few times. It's cool to see how wide ranging your clients are in the client vlogs. Matt, what's funny is that's not a wide range. Does that make sense? What you're seeing in the vlog seems pretty diverse. My actual range of clients who are not on the vlogs is much broader. Like I have people weaker and stronger than everyone in the vlogs. I have people older than people in the vlogs. Um, so it's kind of interesting. I don't think any of my really serious fighters are in vlogs right now. I mean, Alex does BJJ. But like none of my vlog guys compete in anything. They're not fighters, power lifters. Pretty dope to have a diverse array of clients. And that's helped me a lot, Jefferson. Like it's helped me be a better coach, having such an extreme diversity of client types, particularly in different sports. Like when I started coaching people in multiple sports, to where I would have 3 different types of fighters who do completely different combat sports with power lifters and a strong man. And I had one Olympic lifter, it got interesting. It gets interesting programming for those different people. And this is where hypothetical has to go away. And that's one thing that changed a lot of my views. People were like, oh, once you started coaching tons and tons of people all the time, your views change, you flip flop. It's like, yeah, because we can't be dogmatic anymore. That has to go, like literally exactly like we were talking about. You can't say, oh, everyone's their rear delts will get big or for whatever from rows. Yeah, when you're coaching that many clients in different things and you have that mindset, you just fucked yourself. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it in your profession, because this is the problem with coaching. We now have to go to what works and what's pragmatic and what's practical for your different clients, especially if they compete in something. All this hypothetical has to go in the dumpster, all of it. Well, yeah, hard work, but that's not dogmatic. Yeah, everything's got to be, like you said, plastic and moldable. It has to flow like water in the specific context of the lifter. Right? It has to. So whenever you have people whose knowledge base is, well, this works for me, yeah, you're useless. Get off YouTube. Done. Get the hell off here. You have no business giving advice. Done. Don't make videos. Because nobody cares what works for you. If you're not coaching 20 different people, you have no knowledge to share. You have nothing. And I think people forget that when they follow some of these people. How many people are they coaching? Because when I was only coaching 3 or 4 people versus when I started coaching 20 or 30, oh my God, did the type of information I put out change. Someone who only coaches 3 people is not qualified to give lifting advice, period. It's garbage. Someone whose information is, this is what works for me, and they make a YouTube channel. Garbage. It's complete trash dumpster information. Throw it away. Block them, ignore them. They have no business discussing lifting. And this is what I'm saying as someone who's been coaching a lot for a while. It completely changes your mindset. Completely changes it. And it has to. All right, guys, I do need to wind this down though. So let me hop out of here. I got a project I've got to work on. Then I'm going to get my bench pressing day done. and then some cardio. So I will talk to you guys and gals next time.